I know myself, I cannot muscle myself to do the right things. I need a lot of help. Inside of me are a lot of selfish desires and messed up motivations, and those don't go down easily without a fight. And so what has happened over the years is the more I know God, the more securely my eyes are fixed on him, the easier that sin and that weight and that burden falls off. I've talked to you again and again about Hebrews 12. There's a race that is set before us. I really believe that part of the plan of God for your life is for you to give your life away. We talked about being crucified with Christ last week. One of the ways we actually live that out day to day is we care about something and people. We care about other people more than we care about ourselves. And the way to do that is to be on mission, to be discipling people, to be in people's lives, to serve your local church, to serve local parachurch ministries that need help and that need volunteers. Do something that gets your mind off of yourself. As you're running your race, your sin and your weight fall off because you're fixing your eyes on Jesus and you're living for other people. There's a process of sanctification that happens. And we don't do that so that God is more pleased with us. We do that because we're in a relationship with him and we want other people to know him. It's just it comes from a very different place inside of us. There's an engine that we're given in the Holy Spirit. There's a motivation and intrinsic power that is given to us because of the Holy Spirit once we receive Jesus. And that is the beginning of a life that looks more and more like him. But he's accomplishing it. We're not striving and trying to measure up. And the Galatians were confused about this. They kept going back to their old ways. They kept going back to the ways of religion, the ways that they had learned from the time they were able to walk and talk. They had learned you've got to hit all these marks. It's like, okay, I'm not going to hit the marks. And that can cause rebellion where you just give up, or that can cause relationship. Where no longer, it says in the New Covenant, no longer is the law written on stone tablets. The law is written in our hearts, meaning that there's now a relationship with God inside of us that is a different motivation. We don't need an external law written on stone tablets. Now we have the Holy Spirit convicting and counseling and moving us to obedience. I remember when my kids were little, my oldest two kids were little, and my son was shaming Kate because she was making some mistakes, and she was talking about, not measuring up in some way. And Connor was judging her about it and being the snide little toddler jerk to her older brother. And she looked at him and said, Connor, I'm just getting to know Jesus. And I thought that was the most profound thing for a little kid to say, because that's true for all of us. As we get to know him, we'll change. And that somehow innately she knew that. Like, I'm just getting to know him. And as I get to know him, I'm going to change and I'm going to grow up and I'm going to love him more and I'm going to be more obedient. I'm going to pray more. I'm going to do all these things more. But give me grace as I grow up in front of you, kid. Such a wise statement. That is the grace God has for us. And it's the grace that I hope we will have for each other, and especially the grace that we will have for ourselves. We're just getting to know him. We're doing the best we can. And he's accomplishing something in us as we get to know him, as we walk with him, as we talk with him, as we learn about him, as we read about him. Our hearts begin to change. And all of a sudden, things that didn't used to bother us or convict us or we even care about, all of a sudden begin to bother us. We don't feel as at home in our sin. We feel convicted is the word. And so maybe this is for you, or maybe this is for someone you love or know that maybe is new to the faith, and you are wondering, when exactly are they going to get their act together? When are they going to stop drinking? When are they going to stop cussing? When are they going? And I think you could picture what my daughter says of, I'm just getting to know him. And we can't fix everything all at once, right? God is patient with that. God is kind with that. There's a process, and addictions don't die fast. But because of the power of God, they can die. And so we trust him. We walk with him. We ask him for help. We ask other people for help. We recognize that we can't do this on our own. And I believe that is the beginning of life change. And he will accomplish it. And we get to say, this is where we are. And I'm in process. I'm not there yet. But I know God, and I know he's changing me. And that is a powerful story that's messy and might not be wrapped up with a little bow. But I believe it actually is a more powerful story because it's a more real story. we are more than conquerors over sin. We are given all that power. Why? Because we believe in God. Abraham, the passage says that Abraham believed God and it was credited to him as righteousness. Guys, as we trust and believe God is for us, with us, fighting beside us, we begin to change because our posture and our position against the darkness changes. So I'm not saying lay over and accept all of the sin in your life. I am saying fight it with the right weapon, which is faith, which is believing that God has power over these things and can help you fight them.